What is up, guys? Today is Wednesday, which means hashtag Book Wednesday, the day week where I talk to you guys about books. Today's video is 14 books kids should read before turning 13. And I actually have a list of 12 books from Scholastic that they believe that kids should read before turning 13. It's supposed to be 13 books before turning 13, but I'm only counting 12. I'm guessing they forgot a book somewhere. Some of the books on this list I actually don't know. I have not actually read any of them. And some of them sound really interesting. Actually, there's one or two of them I think I might actually have to look into myself. But without further ado, I'm going to tell you what the books are. So the first book they have on the list is, of course, Charlotte's Web by E.B. White. This book plays on your heartstrings. Oh, the feels this book gives you when you're reading it at 11, 12 years of age. And the ending, just like, it's like, why? But it's such a good book and quite a good film too. So if you haven't read the book, you probably have seen the film. So definitely go check out the book because it is very, very beautifully written. The next book on this list is probably one of my favourite childhood authors, and that is by Roald Dahl, and it's Matilda. Matilda was a fantastic book. It's also a very, very good film as well. A lot of Roald Dahl's books have been made into films, so if you haven't read his books, you've definitely seen one of his films. You've definitely seen Charlie and Chocolate Factory, a great book and a good film as well, and probably everyone's favourite song comes from that one anyway when it comes to doing certain things. So yeah, definitely check out Roald Dahl's books, and if not, check out his films. He has a number of them. He has Daniel the Champion of the World, The Witches, James and Giant Peach, Fantastic Mr. Fox, Matilda, and there's a few others that I'm probably missing as well. The next book on this list as well is also actually made into a film, and I think it was done by Disney. I'm not 100% sure, and I think Shia LaBeouf was actually the main character in this film as well. But the book is also quite good, and that book is, of course, Holes, and it's by Lewis Scar. I terribly pronounce the names, and I'm going to mispronounce the names for the rest of this list, by the way, just so you all know. And a really good book, a quite good film as well, so definitely want to check out. This is a book I actually have seen on the bookshelf, but I actually had never picked up and I never read. But that is called Wonder, and I will pop an image up here somewhere that you can see, and this is by R.J. Palacio. I'm, again, as I've said, going to pronounce the names wrong, so apologies. But it does sound like an interesting book, and maybe one I might check out at some point. So the next book on the list is Number the Stars by Lois Lowry, and this is actually sounds like a really, really good book, especially because it's set back in kind of like the whole World War II with the whole Jew thing going on in Germany, and it sounds really, 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 really good. And the synopsis of actually this story, if anyone's into this, the whole kind of like the Holocaust and all this sort of stuff, it's as German troops begin their campaign to relocate all the Jews of Denmark, 10-year-old Anne-Marie Jonassen family takes in Anne-Marie's best friend Ellen Rosen and conceals her by pretending she's part of the family. So it's definitely like the whole Holocaust, World War II, I believe that's when. I'm terrible at history. And yeah, that sounds really good. I'm actually going to check this one out myself. The next book I have on the list is actually a book that I can't pronounce, and I can't pronounce the author's surname, but I give it a go. So it's Manic Mage, and it's by Jerry Spinelli. Apologies if I'm butchering this. Again, picture coming up here, and yeah, it's pretty interesting. It's like kids die, parents die, he changes his name, and it's probably just like one of these adventure stories. So it sounds really good. This book, I'm actually thinking I've actually heard this book, I've heard the synopsis of this book before, and that is The Westing Game, and this has been 16 people are called together to read a will, but then they find out they're all participating in a game in order to become the heir or something of the will, and it does sound actually quite interesting, and it's another book I'm probably going to check out. The next book on the list is probably for younger readers because it's something to do with the 4th grade, so I'm assuming it's for like those in around the 9-10 age mark. But this is The Tales of 4th Grade Nodding, and this is by Judy Bloom, and it's again Tales of a 4th grade student. So if you're a young reader, or you have someone that's into reading and they are young, between the ages of I say 9 and 10, it might be a book for them. And again, picture come up here. So the next book on the list is Ramona Grimby, age 8, and this is actually I think part of the Ramona and Ibiza's story, and it's actually been made into a film as well, and it stars Selena Gomez. So definitely probably again younger readers, and if you have obviously someone that's into reading and they're young, it might be a book aged between the ages of 7 to 9, I'm guessing. So maybe something that they might be interested in checking out. The next book is of course a UK favourite. Now I personally myself said I remember watching this as a kid. I didn't actually read the books or anything like that as a kid, or I don't remember, but that of course is A Bear Called Paddington. So this is Paddington the Bear, and this is very popular in the UK, as Paddington is from Peru. He makes his way to the UK and he's taken in by family, and it just follows his adventure along the way. Really good story. Also again be made into a film recently, so if you're not reading the book, go check out the film. The next book on the list is another book I haven't actually heard of before, and that is Tuck Everlasting by Natalie Bambit. And this book is about a girl who's 11 and lives in a house around the woods that's owned by her family, and she's spends a day with her grandmother watching over her. So it sounds like kind of a story about maybe coming of age with the grandmother and stuff like that, but I don't really know, so might be an interesting book to read and check out. I'm not sure. The last book on their list is by an Irishman, C.S. Lewis, and that is The Lion, the Witch and the Wardrobe. Now when I called him an Irishman, C.S. Lewis was actually born in Belfast, so I'm just going to claim him to be Irish. But yeah, so that's the last book on the list, and of course everyone knows the Chronicles of Narnia have been made into films. They're quite good books, so you hadn't read the books, I definitely urge you to go read the books. I did read these books as a youngster, and they're quite good, and really enjoyed it. Apologies now, I did mess up some of the names of authors and the books, and I haven't heard of many of these books as I thought I would have, but some of them I am genuinely curious to check out and maybe read a little bit more into their synopsis than what I have done for this video. So apologies for that if you want more details, but I will of course link the link down below if you want to go check out this list yourself. Now the books I'm adding into this list for myself, at number 13, I'm going to put in, of course, the Harry Potter series. I believe anyone who has any interest in reading and has not read the Harry Potter series to go and read Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone, or in the US, Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone, because I actually do believe it's a really good book and really enjoy a book, and a great gateway into fantasy if that's what you're looking for. Now the last book and the 14th book I'm introducing into this list is A Goodnight Mr. Tom. Now I can't remember exactly who wrote this book. Goodnight Mr. Tom is set around World War II as well, I think, and it's set in the UK, and it's about a boy that goes off into the countryside. He's abused by his mother, and the story revolves around him and his relationship with Tom, and how he becomes being a shy kid to becoming a strong-willed kid with amazing talent. And that is such a good book, and I remember reading this book when I was in school, because we had to read it in school, and just totally enjoyed it. I actually own a copy. I went off and bought a copy of it for myself because I loved it that much. And there's also a film to accompany it, and it's so good as well. Again, another book that plays on your heartstrings so much, but such a good book. On that, everyone, that is my 14 books kids should read before turning 13. If you like this video, please give it a good old like. If you have not subscribed, you can click over here to subscribe to my channel, and if you want to watch my previous 2 videos, you can click them down below. And on that note, everyone, I shall see you on Saturday. Peace!